All right, guys, so now we're gonna go ahead and tackle the driver's side. Obviously, we do have to start off by removing the door. Once I remove the door, I'm gonna go ahead and start seeing exactly what's bad on the rocker panel and on the corner cab. I will do a full time lapse on this one since I did most of my explaining on the passenger side. So I'm gonna just set up the camera at a nice angle and pretty much do a time lapse of us removing the door and me kind of spectating not spectating, but you know, testing the integrity of the metal that's still here and the cap corner. Then do my lines and do my cuts and all that other good stuff, guys. So I'm gonna set y'all up and start up the time lapse. Guys, so I went ahead and bent it to the 90-degree angle that I needed it at. As you can see, this one here is like 1.25 inches. This one here is 1 inch. So we get this piece. This here is, I believe, gonna sit, like this. Okay, guys, so it'll sit something like this at the bottom, and then once we go ahead and get that tack in, we can go ahead and then start welding the outer panel. Alright, guys, so I went ahead and tack welded my little structure piece down there. This one here just requires some tacks. It doesn't need to get beaded through, so that's pretty good. Now what I'm gonna do is go ahead and hit it with some black spray paint just to go ahead and cover it and make sure it doesn't continue to rust in the future. And then now that we have that support welded on, we're gonna go ahead and move on to welding the actual rocker panel. And then once we get the rocker panel in, we're gonna focus on getting the actual cap corner. So let's get to it. So I went ahead and got my bottom piece cut. It was a bit of a challenge just because the Milwaukee tool, I guess, I don't know if it's the disc. I might have to replace the disc because I have made a few cuts with it, and it is starting to look a little brittled out. Look right there, you can see it. So it was giving me a bit of a challenge, so I switched over to the Hercules grinder with the bigger wheel, and then I went ahead and cut out the piece I needed. So now we're just gonna go ahead and, let's see, set y'all down and test fit it. So what I'm realizing is I was supposed to cut from the outside of the tape, and I cut from the inside. So now I'm about a ½ inch short. So now I'm gonna have to cut this off and re-weld it to this piece to make it long enough. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I'll get y'all guys back in tune once I've attached this back to this piece. Okay guys, so check this out. I came across a little problem with my cuts once again. Obviously, one of the best things I can do is use a thinner marker, but I had told myself I was gonna cut below the pink line, so on the bottom, but I cut on the top on purpose to give myself extra in case I needed to trim down. So whenever we place it, obviously there's still huge gaps, but since we cut this right here, it's sitting a lot lower, so placing this here will kind of secure it where it needs to be, but it's still not perfect because it still has these big gaps right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'll cut this piece off the remainder of the rocker panel and already shaved it down to bare metal. So I'm gonna put it as a backing pad right here, and I'm gonna let some of it hang out like this, and then I'm just gonna tack weld it all across like this. That way I give myself extra lip, and it's gonna be very odd, but anyways, once this is tacked, this will be metal right here, so that I can just beat it up and weld it and then grind it down nice and smooth, and that way we don't have the same gaps that we had on the other side. So I'm gonna start off by going ahead and tacking this piece. Alright guys, so as y'all can see, my welds are getting a lot better because I finally found out how to adjust it properly, and I did some YouTubing. But anyways, I went ahead and welded my support sheet metal piece. That way if there's any gaps, we can fill them in and we have something to support us in the back. So now what I'm gonna do is come and trim a bit of this off. Oh, I have to re-weld this as well. As you can see, just threw a couple tacks just because I had accidentally cut too much, but it's back on there, so it's good. But this is sitting a little too high, as you can see from the pink line. Everything that's pink was supposed to be cut off, so there's a bit of trimming that I need to do. Not so much here, but then a little bit more towards the end. So right now I'm gonna go ahead and mainly focus on this side, which is what's hitting, and then move forward from there. Alright guys, so as y'all can see, I went ahead and sanded the fiberglass that was under there, and I now laid my Bondo. It's pretty nice and dry now, but as you can see, it's looking really nice and smooth. I might have to remove the door again because I am getting a little bit of Bondo on it, but thankfully it comes right off. Nothing too, let me take my mask off. Sorry guys, I have my dust mask on, but it's nothing too terrible. But just to get better access right here to sand nicer and smooth. I don't want to be struggling or hitting the door or anything like that. But the panel itself is looking nice. It's feeling smooth. I am working on the cab corner next. I went ahead and also threw the fiberglass filler on it. I haven't done the back side yet because I still want to move the bed back a little bit more, do a little bit more tacking. And then I need to tack this little edge as well, and then it'll basically be good to go. Sorry, it'll be good to go, but I did want to go ahead and just throw some right here since this was already ready. And it was nice and straight. The gaps look really nice. I was able to get the other side patched up as well. Okay. So on this one, I also went ahead and welded it. And I already threw my layer of the fiberglass filler and sanded it down, which is what you see. I still have to hit it with the blower to get rid of all that dust. In this cab corner, on the other hand, I was able to go ahead and do all the welds and bodywork I needed on it. So, well, not bodywork yet, but I'm getting to that. So I also laid the fiberglass filler on it, basically like on the edges, on the actual outer cab and the inner part of the cab corner as well. But this is gonna go smooth now that it's dry. I can go ahead and sand this as well, hit it with the DA just to get it pretty much semi-smooth. All these low spots will pop up, which is completely fine. The main reason for laying this fiberglass filler is that it does hold a lot better. So it's just to kind of get a nice strong inner structure. And then from there, we just apply the Bondo to fill in all those little green spots you see. Those are all low spots. So we'll reveal the low spots on this and fill this with the Bondo. And soon enough, these rocker panels should be good to go. And then we'll be able to pretty much focus on knocking down anything else that needs to be pretty much worked on. So that's that there. The doors are looking pretty nice. The bed is getting worked on as well. So let me take y'all into the shop real quick. So right here in the bay area, I do have this bed that did have a couple cracks. So I went ahead and hit them with the belt sander, filled them in. Well, actually, I didn't do these myself. I actually had a helper come in. Same thing here. We hit them with the belt sander, filled them in with the fiberglass filler. And now we're gonna pretty much hit any low spots. Like right here, another crack revealed. Sorry, I cut myself. Man, the one time I take my gloves off, I cut myself. Ain't that something? But anyways, yeah, I revealed another crack here, so I'll have to grind that down and fill it with the filler. There are a couple pinholes here and there on the fiberglass. Same here. So I am gonna have to go ahead and reapply some body filler there. The body line did kind of lose its shape, so I'm gonna have to continue to work on that. The guy that actually came and helped me out is actually going to school for this. So he's not a complete professional, but he has an idea, and he just hit me up and was like, hey man, I just want to get a little bit more practice. Can I come by? I was like, sure, why not, bro? I remember when I first graduated, I wanted somebody to give me that opportunity, so I looked out for him. He went ahead and feathered out most of these areas that were pretty rough. There are more cracks here and here, but those cracks actually go through all the way. If we look back here, there's that crack and that crack. So what I'm gonna do is reinforce it with body filler on the back, and then grind that down with the belt sander, fill it up with the fiberglass filler, bondo it, and it should be good to go. And this is the bed that we're gonna go ahead and put on the maroon OBS over here. We're gonna get rid of this bed because if we look down here, let me get y'all a better zoom. Look at that. It's fairly rusted. The floor isn't too bad, but the actual supports for the bed, look at that. They're all really rusted. And same for like these brackets here. Pretty much everything that's metal on this truck is pretty bad because again, it did come from up north. The frame is in pretty rough condition too, but I'll see if I can go ahead and blast it. I did get a little sandblaster from Harbor Freight, so we'll go ahead and test it out on this, just to kind of see what we can work with and see how much that sandblaster can handle, because the driver's side panel from this bed was just completely tore. It had so many cracks, it was missing pieces, so we're not gonna use this one. We're actually gonna go ahead and use this bedside panel. It's pretty good condition, so we're just gonna remove it off of this bed and put it on the bed we have inside.
It's caught in the crossfire.